Is inflation re-accelerating in the US?
Well, I think any one of these individual month-over-month reports, there's just so much noise here and there about the particular data in them, and I think that's one of the challenges is you can get too focused on this report versus that report, as opposed to just taking a step back and saying, "Hey, look, if you look at how CPI is printed over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, we've seen a bounce in core inflation. We're in that sort of 3-ish to 3.5 range over the course of the last 4 or 5 months. The year-over-year number, as you say, is between 3 and 4 here, and all of that is a bit too high. It's not quite as extreme as where we were, when we were a couple of years ago, but we're still at a level that has got to cause some concern for the Fed about swiftly shifting towards an easing cycle.
So, Bob, looking at the subcomponent rents of shelter here, still printing at 0.45% month on month or so. And we've been told over the past year, maybe 18 months, that rents of shelter will slowly but surely fade towards 2%. What do you make of that very sticky, slow category in the inflation index here?
I think a lot of folks who have argued for the swift fall of shelter costs are really focused on posted new rents, and the reality is in the U.S. market, that's just a tiny, tiny portion of what's actually occurring in terms of whether it's direct rental costs or OER in the economy. And so when you see things like the time series that around rents that the various Federal Reserve agencies print, and you see that continue to be above what the CPI rent report has been over the accumulated from 2020, that suggests that we might have these shelter cost growth continue to be elevated for an extended period of time. And let's also recognize that part of what's going on with a longer lag is that house prices are reaccelerating in the United States again. We're seeing rises between 7 and 8%. And so while there might be a short-term supply of apartment rents that might drive down, incremental leases, the big picture story here in the US is that housing costs are going up. They're not going down. And that's the real concern for the Fed.